Now entering Nerdist.com.
Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
Hey, everybody.
We're back.
God.
We did back to back. We were so exhausted last
Yeah,
time.
and then we spent weeks apart.
Weeks apart.
And then I get a text an hour and a half ago from this one right here asking me a question that could wait till the podcast.
Okay.
Hi, this is Laurie Kilmartin. That's Jackie Cation.
Hi, I'm Jackie Cation. Welcome to the Jackie and Laurie Show on
Right.
Nerdist. The Nerdist Network, you guys. Here we are at Meltdown Comics.
Okay, so why don't you use a different city so that we don't look like we're slamming
No,
anything.
because you sent me one of the last texts I got from you was, do you think this is enough money to go and do this one city?
Yeah.
And I said, sure. And then you told me it was a condo, and I was like, no, it is not. There's not enough money in the world. And then you're like, I might treat myself right and get myself an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, you do that.
But you know
treat
what?
yourself right.
That city, Seattle, is really expensive in August. It's nothing
You're worth
within
every
walking
dime.
distance is under $250
I'm just going to say.
a night.
Yeah, that's fine. You are worth every penny to have
Thank
your
you.
own room and your own bed that no one has slept, that professionals have come through. Nobody's jerked off there in a month and a half.
You know, it's been a while for me. I might want to sleep in some features jizz. That's a good
Some
summer weekend.
Features jizz. Welcome to the name of the program. I don't know that we can do that or want to do that.
Why not?
But why not? But well, you want to start like from yesterday and go, because I have the greatest story. So I did Ventura Harbor Comedy Club this
Right.
weekend with
Okay.
Felicia Michaels and Karen Rontowski.
And
Both of-
Kira, right?
No, Kira didn't do it. It was just the
okay.
three of us.
Okay.
And
that's a great show.
it was an amazing show, and I hadn't seen, and we all just did 25s.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen
how
their
fun.
holy, I have many things to say about Felicia Michaels.
Yeah.
First of all, her beating herself up about how she's just all dick jokes.
Yeah.
She did a Planned Parenthood dick joke.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah, she's got
You're
great
like,
jokes.
Dude, you are political and dick jokes? There's nothing, nobody doesn't want any part of that.
There's nothing in your way anymore.
There's nothing in your way.
You got
should
it all.
be on top of the world, Felicia Michaels. And Rontowski with the one-liners, just fucking zing, and
Yes.
so weird
Yes.
and awesome. And so anyway, we're driving back Friday night. And you may not know this about Felicia Michaels. She has the biggest bro-y comic crush on you in the world. Her comedy crush on you was 20 of the 35 miles. No. Finally, Rontowski and I looking at each other going, we're right here. You're going to still talk about Laurie Kilmartin, how she's a genius and how there's no reason why she isn't the queen
my
of the world.
God.
And it went on and on. And finally, and we just let her go. And finally, Felicia goes, I've had a couple of adult beverages.
That's what really brings on a love of me is
Right.
adult beverage.
Well, you know
beverages.
what I like to tell people is that it's always good to see you. That's what I like to say. It's always good to see you.
It's always good to see Laurie Kilmartin. Oh man, that's like 90 years of comedy experience in a car.
So
on a 2-hour drive. That's fucking awesome, right?
Right. And there was the second time in a week and a half that I thought I worried, unsubstantiated worry.
Yeah.
Because I'm working with professionals. Randy Lubis owns Ventura Harbor Comedy Club, has never shorted me a dime in my life. But I went in going, we're not going to get the money he said he was going to give us. There's no way he's going to write us this check.
Yeah.
And then I got the check and it was fine. Previous week, I'm in Indianapolis
Yeah.
doing the new Jokers.
Okay, so this
It's
is
taken over the place where Crackers used to be.
Oh, Crackers closed?
No, Crackers moved to a different place downtown Indianapolis, and Jokers were opened up. What
So
do
now
you
there's
think?
2 clubs that aren't booking me in Indianapolis.
Why are people allowed, to name their own comedy clubs, Jokers and Crackers? And
Right.
why does Indianapolis have 1,000 comedy clubs? Because there's also Morty's.
Right.
And I used to work, I'm sure
That's
I will
3
never...
full-time clubs for Indianapolis.
Right. I'm
That's
sure
too
I'll
many.
never work Crackers again, by the way. Because
Okay.
I asked Ruth Ann like 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was. She booked me during a board game convention, Gen
Yeah.
Con. And Andy always goes. I want a free hotel. because it's like $1,000.
Yeah.
And then I make
The
some money.
hotel's $1,000.
Yeah, the
Okay.
hotel is probably, it's pushing $1,000 because
Okay.
it's crazy. It's 80,000 people.
Wow.
So we booked it. I was in the downtown Crackers. We had pretty good numbers from Gen Con, and the guy who managed the joint was like, yeah, this is the best matchup. These are the best numbers it's been in a while.
Oh, that's great.
Ruth Ann has a falling out with the people who own that building. It's one of those buildings that has like a dance bar, a karaoke bar, a sports bar, and a comedy club.
Yeah.
It's a very Playboy mansion
Right.
from 1972 in Chicago.
I never
So
worked that room.
It's all right.
People say it's great.
well,
But they
Jokers,
moved.
they moved. She wouldn't book me during Gen Con. She said it was a bad idea.
Uh-huh.
And so I am like, okay, well, I guess I won't work Indianapolis. I'll just work Bloomington if I ever get back in there. And the guy who managed the Crackers is now booking the Jokers. And so
Okay.
he emailed me about 6 months ago, and he's like, hey, there's a Comic-Con thing called PopCon. Would you be willing to do Jokers, and then I can get you a live Dork Forest, the Dork Forest
Right.
at PopCon, and they'll put you up, and it'll save everybody money. And I was like, if I take this gig, Ruth Ann will never book me
Oh,
again.
he's already trying to save money by getting PopCon to put you up?
Yeah.
Bad news.
Well,
Yeah, no, I'm
whole
just saying
gig itself.
in hindsight, it's like, ooh, this is
I
already
may never
this
work for
starts
Joker.
off-
I mean, the thing is
It's
we're
just
going to
shaky.
talk about this because I also got an email 2 weeks before I did this gig. They
Yeah.
said from somebody who had just done it and said, it's the worst. It's the worst.
It's in the
They're-
same location, but it's the worst?
It's the same location, but their website has not been updated since March.
Oh.
Nobody knows where anybody's staying or
Mm-hmm.
working or even that you can get tickets. And so
It's like Britain right now. It's,
Oh,
it's
Britain.
completely poorly managed. There's no one in charge.
So the first night I'm there, Thursday,
Yeah.
4 people in the audience. I'm closing the open mic.
Okay.
The 4 people in the audience are fans of the Dork Forest.
Oh,
so they are.
God.
And so I get to see, by the way, 10 comics, local Indiana comics that I'm told later that it's not the great open mic. And
yeah.
everybody who went up that night has been doing it for 6 months to 2 years.
Okay.
And they all had that material of, when you first start doing comedy, you're like, well, I lived through this shitty thing. I think it's hilarious.
Right.
But then it doesn't have a punchline.
Yeah, yeah.
It was that. And it was
Yeah.
10 of those people. And
Do you think that's a little bit of storytelling, a little too much storytelling?
Well, sure, because in the beginning, essentially that's all you're doing, looking
Yeah.
for a punchline. You're telling the story of something you think is
I'm
funny.
just saying, like, there's a lot of storytelling shows, and it's
Oh, that
giving
they could just-
people an easy out. Like, you don't have to figure out a joke for this because you can tell a story and laugh at your own shit, and then
Go do a storytelling show.
Yeah.
Knock yourself out.
Right.
There's one right parallel. And so four people, none of the shows, 5 shows, none of them had more than 10 people. Second show Saturday, 5 people from the first show stayed for the second
Oh,
show.
my
Because
God.
they could. And so I was like, I will be going to the vault.
Wow.
I will be going deep into the vault so I don't have to repeat that hour, even though I need to work on my hour because I'm doing a new album in January.
You've committed already?
Yeah, I booked Acme New Year's
That's
Eve
great.
week. New Year's Eve week at Acme Comedy Company in Minneapolis. Going to record the new album.
New Year's Eve's a terrible night, though.
I know I'm not going to record it on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
I'm going to record it the rest of the week because no, I'm not going to.
Jackie's third album, Shut Up, You Drunk Fucks. So
Please, I would like to use that.
go,
And-
please. Your check was okay?
My check was okay, but it was that thing where I got the check and it was short.
Oh,
And so I hate confrontation.
yes.
But you know what I hate more than
how much was
confrontation?
it off by?
$500.
Ooh.
So I had to talk because more than
And it's
confrontation.
hard because you don't have the number. Like, they're probably, you feel like you're going to put them out of business.
I feel
if you
shitty
stand
because
up
of
for
it.
yourself.
And then I every night, Friday and Saturday, line around the block with booty shaking, chain wearing dudes and
Sure.
ladies. So I was like, oh, they're making plenty of money, but not in the comedy
complex.
club. The complex is owned by the same people.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was worried until I saw the line around the block, and then by the
You're
way,
a write-off. The more they give you, the more tax breaks they get.
well, thank God then that I guess I have a huge write off because I got the check for the thing, but I didn't get the check for the air. There was 500 air that I was supposed to get.
Right.
And so when the guy gave me the check, I go, so it's missing 500 air. And he goes, oh, are you sure? And he didn't look at me like you're making that up.
Yeah.
But I immediately go into hardcore road comic
Yeah.
mode. And I'm like, calm down, calm down. And I was like, would you like to see the email? I always bring the email. when I get paid.
Do you print it
especially
out?
I did not print it out. It was in my room.
Right.
I forgot to bring it. But yes, I
That's
do always
smart.
bring it out because I'm like, here's the paperwork that said, even though it's an email, because you gotta. And so I took a screenshot of the email and I forwarded it to him because all he said was, I would love a copy of that email just for my boss because I'll write you another check, not a problem. And he did, and the check's fine.
Yeah.
But have you ever been underpaid? Or bounced? I never got bounced.
I did get bounced once. I had the club owner call me. I was driving on the. I have a distinct memory of driving on the 5. There's no cell phones at this point. It's the 90s,
right?
And I'm calling my voicemail,
Yeah.
And I get there's a message from who I love, Scott Edwards.
Don't know.
He-
One-nighter guy?
He used to book 2 awesome rooms called Laughs Unlimited.
Okay.
In Sacramento and Citrus Heights.
Oh, in the old sack.
Yeah, and the other one was in a
grossest
mall.
name of any part of any town ever. Old sack.
So careful. I've heard every old sack joke, as has every Northern
I'm
California.
sure.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
sure. I'm sure you've made every possible in the search.
I made 8 of them. Okay. So yeah, there was a voicemail. Hey, that check you wrote isn't. I wrote it might be bounce. It might bounce, and I'll send you another one. And you did send me another one.
Right.
What's funnier because he never underpaid, but he never paid you much. It was almost like you
was right at that
accepted
line?
horrific underpayment for your work, and then that one wasn't good.
Right.
I don't remember being.
I got a lot of post-dated checks. Did you
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to get in Minneapolis. The Hanson boys would constantly.
Hanson boys. They sound like a gang.
They were brothers, and they were. I mean, Tom Hanson. All he's ever wanted was a bait shop. There's no reason for him to book stand-up comedy, and but he would post-date these checks, or he would say, "You have to drive out to Ham Lake, and get the check."
Oh,
from a
God.
gig, and you're like, fine.
One time, there's this club owner in a nearby state that has a temper, and he was angry.
Dun, dun, dun.
There was a hotel mix-up,
Yep.
and I was pissed because I had an email. I'm like,
Yep.
I said I want this.
Yep.
And he didn't, and then I paid for my own because I was like, "Fuck this! I'm not staying at a travel lodge with open air hallways where any fucking meth head in this fucking fucked up state can come rape me." Okay?
Right.
That's how I present it to everybody all
That's-
the time.
well,
I
and-
go high. I go worst case scenario right up front.
Well, let's live a little defensively. I'm completely on your side.
So he's gonna pay me, and he's like, "I don't have the cash right now. Let's go to the ATM." So I'm like, I'm leaving a location. This is
second location.
This is what Oprah never do is go to another location.
Wow,
to an
Oprah.
ATM machine. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he did pay grudgingly.
Right.
Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
worked for him again, of course.
I once did the only writing job I've ever had.
Yeah.
Where, I don't know, should I? Yeah, I'll tell you the story. What the
Yeah.
hell? Who cares? They're all perfectly nice people. It ended up being very nice.
Yeah.
Dave Anthony, Blanket Patch, and myself.
At Marin?
No,
Oh.
Drew Carey's game show thing.
Oh, is it Price is Right?
Price is Right.
Okay.
We were supposed to make it funny. By the way, impossible. Because
Sounds awful.
well, it was.
How can you make people dressed up as animals? How can you write comedy for them?
Let's make a deal.
Okay. What's he doing?
Price is Right is then all they do is guess the price up or
Oh,
low, up or
okay,
low.
okay.
And then we were supposed to write punchlines for the prizes. And
Okay.
the prizes are always
But they can't offend the actual
Right.
manufacturers of
and for some
prizes.
reason the prices haven't changed since the 12th century, so
Yeah.
they're the same those pop-up where there's a bed in the back. What
Yeah.
the fuck are they called?
A Murphy bed?
Campers. Yeah,
Oh,
they always
sorry.
had like campers and cars and
I was totally
a
off.
Murphy bed. Yeah, they're giving away Murphy beds on the Price
they
is
do
Right.
pop up
They
when
do,
you're-
sure. And well,
After they
all-
pop down.
they were super dumb. But so you were like, well, it's a rolling meth thing because Breaking Bad. This is years ago, right?
Yeah.
So Breaking Bad, and my manager had gotten me this because she was managing all 4 of us,
Right.
And I don't know how to be in a writer's room. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So we're sitting in his office, and I was told that we would get, I think it was $600 a day in cash.
Oh, this is
For
so
3
this is
days.
so wrong.
So we're sitting
so
in there,
wrong on every
and it's
level.
Dave Anthony and Blanket Patch. Blanket Patch is a Gatling gun of jokes.
Yeah.
So he is like a monkey throwing stuff, and then every third or fourth thing is hilarious.
Yeah.
Dave Anthony, silent Bob, and will say a hilarious thing every 7 to 12 minutes, right? And me trying to figure out what I'm doing.
Right.
And so we're sitting there, and at the end of the first day, I'm exhausted. I have a headache the size of Gibraltar because I've been working all day trying to make something out of nothing. Mm-hmm. And Drew Carey says, so did you guys want all the money now or each day, or do you want it on Wednesday? Because it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Cash on Wednesday. And Blaine and I...
Drew Carey's personally paying you?
Yeah, because they wouldn't pay for it, I guess. And he was just trying to make the show better.
Okay, so it's not like
It wasn't
the
like
network is
no.
going around the guild. It's just like this comics.
Yeah, comics
shooting
working with
shit.
comics.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, yeah. The guild, no one.
Yeah.
No one was hurt in the production of this.
Okay.
I certainly wasn't. I had a headache. But Blaine and I don't know Drew very well.
Yeah.
So we just kind of freeze up. And then Dave Anthony, who's really good friends with him, goes, now, every day, money. And thank God. Thank you, God. So he pulls out like a wad of cash and hands us each $600. So the next day we get paid. The third day he goes, it happens at the end of it. He goes, "Hey, I don't have enough money. Do any of you have a PayPal account?" Well, we all have a PayPal account, and but he goes, "I have enough to pay 2 of you. Do any of you have a PayPal?"
Wait. Drew Carey doesn't have enough to pay 3 people $600 each
in cash
on him.
Right.
Okay.
So you are Dave Anthony in this case because
Okay.
Dave Anthony just looks at him and goes, "Go to an ATM." I love Dave Anthony. He will
awesome.
fucking say whatever
You know,
needs to be said, you know?
As soon as comics start paying, they turn into club owners. I don't have the money. Hey, you were on the other side of this for 20 years. Come on.
You know that you have the money. Go to an ATM. And then he did, and he gave everyone, but Dave got the sweaty wad of 20s.
Oh, my God.
Which was awesome. The rest of us got hundreds like people. But by the way,
okay,
I
never mind.
never ended up doing that. I guess Drew said that I wasn't very good at it. And I said to my manager, "Did you tell him it was my first time? And I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and it's a learned skill?" And she was like, "Well, why don't we just call it?"
It sounds horrible.
Well, it was dumb, and it was fine. And it was over, and I got $1,800. So I guess it's over now.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I've spent that money. It was 7 years ago.
Okay, so yesterday, let's see, today's Sunday. Oh, so Friday night, right? First of all, I'm having like, I'm like, am I my poor son being raised by a comic and it's a single parent situation, so it's all fucked up. Like I can't give him the idyllic childhood he deserves.
What do you
in
want?
my opinion?
June Cleaver?
Yes.
Okay.
And like the next door neighbors are every Saturday, the whole family's packing up in a camper or whatever and going to soccer games and all this
doing
shit.
something bucolic.
And they're
Yes.
doing something family stuff, right?
Yes.
It's all kid oriented. And I, since day one, I've been trying, half of my energy has been going into not losing myself and not being swallowed up by this enormous
parenthood.
responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah. So instead of, people, other parents are reading parenting books and I'm like, I got to do my artist way pages and don't talk to me. Give me a zone of privacy, please. I'm like, I'm clawing for it every single day, trying to not drown in all this, in parenting,
Right.
And, so then I'm like, he doesn't get what.
So then you're
these
beating
other
yourself
kids.
on the other
Yes,
side.
But I'm
Okay.
right. It's true. But anyway, so he's playing water polo this summer.
Okay.
He's on a little water polo team, a city league team.
Sure.
And he's been, going to. I've been having him swimming.
He's 9. You send him on a Uber, right? You just send him off at a Lyft. No, I'm kidding.
I don't. Oh my God.
That would
It's
be
funny
the shitty parent moment.
How off you are. That's
I'm
how funny
totally
it's
off. Yes.
Okay. So anyway, he's got.
'Cause I know it's not
He's
true.
got a game
Yes.
on. He's got his first games on Saturday morning, and he hasn't had a lot of team experience. I think he's becoming like me. He's kind of a loner, kind of fine by himself, and I'm like, oh, I don't. I don't want another me.
You don't want that.
Please, let's not repeat
Be
this
better.
shit.
Be better than this.
Bigger,
Yes.
be able
More
to be
social.
in a team.
Yeah.
Yes, more social. I mean, I was as a swimmer, lap swimming, it's very solo,
Right.
I mean, when you're on
You
a
might as well
relay,
be a
you're
long
together.
distance
Yes,
running.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it is super solo, and it's all of the pressure is self-directed. And comedy's the exact same way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, be an improv guy, please. Be part of a team.
Yes,
Don't be a
sketch
stand-up.
comedy.
Don't
Get
be
into
that
it.
kind of a
Yeah.
brain. Be a bigger brain. Be a different brain. Be part of the basket. Be part of a collective. And so he plays one game, and he's playing for Burbank, and like Pasadena walks in, and these 10-year-olds look like they trained in the USSR, and they're 40 years old. They've got wives
The
and
Thunder from
girlfriends,
Down
and
Under?
oh my god, it's crazy. They walk in there, their caps are already on, and ours already. We don't have.
They're
team
in
suits.
step.
Yes, I'm like, oh my god, we're doomed, and they got crushed. 13.
Oh, did they get crushed?
Yeah. So my son is like, he's playing in that, I guess, the outfield of water polo, and maybe it's called the outfield, but where he's
Right,
not,
doesn't-
being passed the ball too much. And a second game, he's playing Glendale, and Glendale is also just as bad news bears as
Right.
Burbank is. And he got in it more, and he like passed the ball, and he passed
good.
it to somebody who shot it, made a goal, and he did that twice. And I'm like,
Yes.
he's not going to be me.
Right.
Thank God.
Are you just going to get him into like baseball and are you
No,
going to
no,
get
no,
him
no.
into
I'm
every
just doing-
team possible?
No, but I think boys and a ball, they fucking need a ball to throw. You
Boys,
know?
sure. But I think a team thing is a good idea.
It is, yeah.
It is
yeah,
a
yeah.
really good idea because it does create a sense of community.
Yes, and you're not the most important thing.
Right?
You know?
Does he have kids that he plays with? Are there play
No,
dates
I
or
mean,
whatever?
No, because I'm not the mom that's hanging out with the other moms.
Oh,
okay?
right,
Not
right,
only do
right.
I have the day job, but at night I'm out.
Yep.
So I'm not part of that community.
Right.
And
You got to get
I
him into
should
teams,
be.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
that-
do.
so
Anyway. So this is. But
It's
but
a new thing now.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
cool. It
That really
made me
cool.
happy as a
As a parent.
Like, and I've always thought, like, since he was born, I'm like, he's his own personality, and if I put too much pressure on him, like I had pressure on me,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't come out right. So I've always like been a little hands off, but I love you, in
Yeah.
a way, but it also served my crushing need to not be so attached to somebody.
Right.
My need to be alone. You know what I mean? It's like that's
Right,
how
right.
I parent is also how I need to be,
Right,
so I
right.
don't go on a shooting spree.
Right.
So it just seems like, it's kind of working. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Of course, it's always
I sense
every
this
single week is
and-
different.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about because
Right.
it's this standoffish kind of parenting. I do it in my relationship with Andy. I'm just like, yeah, go do something by yourself because I got
Yeah.
to go do something by myself.
Yeah. Yes.
And there's a lot of separate but equal kind of.
Yes.
You're like, I don't know. Roe v. That's not the.
No,
that's,
it's civil rights.
Civil
yes.
rights, not
Yeah,
Roe
Brown,
v. Wade
Brown
versus the Board of
Education.
Education. Good for us. And Kyle politely smiling and shaking his head. But yeah, I think there's a standoffishness in our interpersonal relationships
Yes. Yeah.
that suffer because of stand-up comedy.
Right. Definitely.
Oh, that's brutal. That is hard. So you have
I
to
don't know
work
if I'm
hard
creating.
to be more. Yeah, raise yourself to some extent because I got to go do stand-up, but you don't want to be that because you love him with
Yeah.
all your heart, and you're like,
Yeah. And then so Friday night. So I have him for the weekend. He's more at his dad's house on the weekends, which is
Okay,
why
yeah.
he can't do a lot of team sports because they always do their shit on Saturdays. And
well, can't
and
his dad take him to the sports stuff?
No, Jackie, he can't.
I am so sorry. While I take my own life.
But so anyway, so I have
Yeah.
him. So Friday night, I'm at Comedy Magic, right?
Yeah.
I'm at
Yeah, yeah.
8:00 show, and
Oh, did you bring him? Bring the
sometimes I
boy?
do.
Yeah.
And so this time I didn't. I'm like, I want him to get, fall asleep early and be
Yeah.
all rested for his water polo game. And so I get home around 10:15 and he's awake and my mom's asleep. So
Okay.
we're worked opposite. So I get into bed with him. I put my pajamas on. We're reading Farmer Boy, which
Okay.
is the story of
Little
Almanzo, Little House on the Prairie. I'm
The
trying
boy.
to get him into Little House through a boy. And
Oh, there you go.
Almanzo's 9 years old and he's a fucking farmer and it's amazing, right?
Oh, good.
Because I'm taking a break from Percy and Olympians
Right, and Harry
centaurs
Potter
and all that
that
shit.
stuff,
Okay.
yeah. More slice of life, 1800s.
Yes. Yeah. So we're reading, and I've got a Fitbit. Okay, my Fitbit is connected to my phone, and all of a sudden it starts buzzing, and I see, Flappers is calling me on a Friday. Why would a comedy club call me when I'm in bed with my son?
Right.
Guess what? You never want a comedy club to call you at night.
Yes.
Because what the only thing they're saying is, where the fuck are you?
Yeah. That is the only thing they're saying.
So I immediately pick up and I go, am I on a show tonight? And they go, yeah.
Oh, shit.
And then it all comes in. I go, I'll be there in 15 minutes. And so my son is like disappointed. So I go, put on your shoes. We're going to a comedy club. So now this is the greatest night of his life.
Oh, right.
His shoes and pajamas. And I live very close to Flapper. So I got there with 3 minutes to spare.
And then you got to do a
And
set.
then he sat on a bench with Don Friesen's kid. It was a kid's bench at Flappers.
Sat on a bench with Don Friesen's kid.
That was pretty cool.
That is pretty great.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So, man, I have been trying. How's the stand-up going?
Good. Okay. So I have Danielle Perez. She
Thigh Gap Comedy.
Yes, and Madison Shepherd have put together a show tonight called Laurie Kilmartin Does a Lot of Time.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So
is that tonight, Sunday?
Yes. But part of me's like, and it's to do new stuff. And I've been going through old notebooks, so I have some new ideas I want to flesh out. But it's like, fuck, I just like doing one new joke in a chunk that works, and then I don't like storytelling, and I don't like those that I feel an obligation to the audience where I'm not going to do 5 minutes of fumbling around like an asshole trying to find a punchline for these people,
Right, except for that everyone knows going in what you're doing, so you get to, but but in your head you're like, no.
Yeah, and then the other thing is I'm being sold as Laurie Kilmartin Does a Long Time, so it's like, no, not interested.
Not interested.
It could be a totally empty audience.
Right. Maybe nobody
really,
wants
guess
to
what?
see that.
Every time she does 8 minutes, it feels like a long time.
Let's call Felicia Michaels. She'll show up. She'll tell everybody she knows. So, but I had the same problem because I was doing 25s at over the weekend, and I need to work at Ventura Harbor.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to work on new stuff.
Yeah.
But by last night.
Yeah.
Friday I did. I worked on my new 20-minute bit that needs to be...
It's one bit that's 20 minutes?
It isn't. It's probably a 15-minute bit. So I did a 3-minute bit
and
a 3-minute bit. It's so long. And
is it a story?
It is a series of bits.
Okay.
Essentially, it's all that grief stuff about my dad, and it's all this other bullshit. And it's fine.
Yeah.
It needs more punchlines,
right?
Because then it is a storytelling bit, and then why don't you call up the goddamn moth and get me a slot? So and it's fine. I love the moth.
People's moth is their dream, and we're like, yeah, why don't you do the fucking moth?
I want to do the moth,
but
is
like, why don't you do fucking Letterman?
But the pile of like just the pile of sandals that I was working to out in Ventura Harbor was fine.
It's all flip flops,
and Crocs, right out, and it's fine. It's just fine with. And
why don't people dress up anymore?
I don't know. Why don't I? So all right. I had a great thing on Snapchat where I forgot to mention this lady sent here to Nerd Melt all the toys. This woman Carol. I don't know if she wants me to say her last name. Should I say her last name?
I don't know. What if she's married to a guy that hits her when she sends toys to people?
Right. She sent me a bunch of combs and brushes because I was in I was in New York doing Two Dope Queens live on NPR.
Let's hear about that later.
Comedy.
Wait. Okay.
So the 20 minutes that I can't, I need to work it out. If I wrote it out like a person who wrote out their comedy and practiced it like a person who practiced their comedy off stage, I would find the punchlines. It would tighten up that way. I don't do that. I organically go tell the joke 100 jillion times, and 6 months later, it is a series of 3.5-minute bits. And
Are you ever going to change your ways?
No.
Okay.
There you go. So
I won't either. I mean, sometimes you, instead of like beating yourself up, well, this is how I do it. I don't know. That's
how I do it.
How you write. So
you're right.
But you have to accept whatever if you're slowing yourself down.
And beating myself up isn't going to help. So
no.
Friday I do the essentially it's like an 18-minute bit. It's about my dad and his giving advice, and then it's about my mom and my stepmom dying, and then my dad almost dying, and then at the end of it, it's so that's the whole thing, and it's got more punchlines than it did 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
And then I bookended it with stuff that was, but by last night I was like, I can't make them sit through that bit again. I can't make them sit through. Yeah, Ventura.
Okay.
I did that 18 Friday first show show.
Out
I did
of
the 18.
25?
Out of
Ooh,
25.
wow.
I did that 18.
How'd
and
it
they
go?
liked it. Everybody was on board. It was probably super poignant.
Yeah.
Anyway, fuck me. And then the next day,
But you also have Felicia and Kira doing, like, picking up
Karen,
any slack.
Yeah.
Sorry, Karen, picking up any slack if there is slack.
Right. And we were swapping it out.
Okay.
And so the next day I was like, I want to host. I want to host this thing. I want to, because they had Andre hosting.
Yeah.
And Andre's fine, but he's messing around.
Yeah.
And this was supposed to be just the three of us.
Right.
So I'm like, I'll just host. And then I didn't because Karen hosted second show. So I hosted first show and did. But I was like, I can't make them sit through this. So I went to the vault and I screwed around and I tried some other new stuff that I'm also working on.
Yeah.
And that was fine. But yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, there's no
so
solution. It's just a
Danielle,
constant struggle of I can't make them sit through this. I have to make them sit through this.
That is exactly the journey. That's the journey. Because I can't make them sit through this. I have to make them.
They must, yeah.
They must.
Okay, so I was in the 2 weeks. Let's see. Okay, so I have these two jokes, and one of them's a callback to the first joke.
Right.
And they've been tried many times here in Los Angeles, in every show in Portland, at Bridgetown, and then in New York.
Right.
And they don't work with regular audiences.
Oh, really?
But they work when it's a dark audience, or it's, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's a
My Irish
Friday
Goodbye.
Late Show.
I thought they were going to kill me.
Like one of those like loose kind of like, fuck yeah audiences. You know, and there's crowds like that, but you can't count on them.
Right.
And then
So you're writing around it, or?
well, so I tried it at Comedy Magic. Comedy Magic to me is like that is a TV audience.
Yeah, that's
right?
a white bread road audience.
Yes,
it's like
that's going to be an audience that I think I've said this before too. That'll be the audience in Conan if you're doing Conan, or if
They
you're
know.
doing
They know
that's the audience,
yeah.
and so you can tell if that joke's going to work on TV if you do it at Comedy Magic. You know,
Okay.
So of course it works at the Lab,
yeah.
or it works at the U.
Yeah.
Like I know the rooms it works, and then at Comedy Magic, boom, total stop, and then the next joke, which is. Fine. Now that next joke's starting in a huge hole that I just created, and I only have 10 minutes, or I have 8 minutes. So it's like, oh fuck, all right. So and same thing happened in Portland, kind of. It depended on the crowd, but I could tell I was like, oh, this is I can't count on this one.
Is it
and
wording?
Then, no, it's the
actual.
You want the joke?
Part of the joke. Yeah.
My son's father is Hispanic.
Yep.
My son is much darker than I am. I don't mean skin color. I mean he likes rape jokes.
Yeah, that's the Irish goodbye. Yeah, nobody's gonna fucking like that in the middle of.
But you need, yeah, exactly. So
But you gotta find
and then,
something.
Then there's
you
a
gotta
callback
find a way because
where
that's a great fucking
But
joke.
then I do a rape joke later, which gets nothing,
Yep.
and then I go, guys, that's my son's favorite joke. He asked me to tell it. See, this, you two assholes clapping now, is going to have me put that back in rotation, and then it's going to bomb again.
Well, that's hardly our fault.
But you know what? It's that's the thing. Like, it's a long set where I have time to
get back.
crawl out of that trench I just threw myself in. Or, when I have like a longer 9/11 thing with that, some things can't be tweaked. They're just there.
Right.
They just are what they are. And if a regular audience isn't going to be into it, you just don't do them in front of a regular audience.
Right.
And if you're a comedy fan, come to a weird show.
Come to a weird show.
Come
Be a
to a
comedy
late
nerd.
show. Go to a Thursday show.
Yep.
Don't go to the Saturday first show because that's greatest hits night,
Oh.
But so and then I tried it in New York and I thought, oh, New York.
Yeah.
It's a New York joke.
Yep.
It's not a New York joke.
It is not a New York joke.
it's a
non-comedy club joke. Is
yeah,
what
and
it
you
is.
have to know about comedy. You know, rape jokes is a thing in comedy, and
Right, and what darkness is, and all of it.
I was thinking like Werner Herzog, but that's not funny. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's got to be
It's a
one of
weird-
those
that's a
jarring
weird reference. Yeah.
and it's got to be something a 9-year-old boy wouldn't be into.
Wouldn't want any part of. He's crying out loud. That's hilarious.
Well, it's part of it gets relegated to, that chunk gets a little smaller now, and it gets relegated to a different kind of audience.
Yep.
And well, I'm bummed. I'm in mourning.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, fair
That's
enough.
why I'm wearing black right now. I'm very.
There's the 20 minutes that works for this new album that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Is from about a year ago, and now I'm sick of those jokes. But none of them are on any album, so they have to be done.
God,
and
yes,
they're going to kill
have stuff like that.
Yeah, and you're like, no, those are going to be the anchors for this damn. Because Danielle Perez was like, "Do you want to do a show to practice your album?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want you to point out that."
By the way, how fucking cool is she? And
she's really cool.
The female comics that are coming up now are just different. They're nicer, and maybe because they're not like, it's you or her. And you
We
guys
were sold
fucking
a bill
fight
of
it
goods.
out.
We were sold this fucking bill of goods.
Yeah.
That is so. We talked about so much comedy with Felicia and Karen and I coming back from. I texted you.
I know,
and it turns out it doesn't. This is you and I are a perfect example of comics who like different comics and different kinds of comedy.
Yeah.
So think about sitting in a car with Rontowski and Felicia Michaels and how much they love different comics that I love, and I don't. They were shitting so hard on the alt scene in the late 90s here.
Oh, yeah?
Because Felicia came up here.
Right.
And Felicia has been ragged on so hard.
Yeah.
And it isn't cool. It isn't essentially like the next generation of that was April Macy, where
Right,
you're
right,
just
right.
like way too pretty and does dirty stuff, but isn't dumb.
Yeah.
And crowds love it.
Yeah.
And so if you don't like those comics, fine, you don't like those comics, but don't be a fuckwit and be mean to them.
Yeah.
Because you think what do you there's all these judgments that happen, and it's like slamming Dane Cook. You can hate Dane Cook all you want. Don't badmouth him. First of all, don't be rude to his face because he's a person.
Yeah. Is someone being rude to his face?
People have always been rude to his face. I would be rude to his face if he wanted to work in, and because he was running the light. I was told that
to me, I'm like,
then I will be rude to his
disagreement I
face.
would have would be dropping in and doing a half-hour guest set or something like that,
and ruining the show that had been carefully curated.
Yeah, yes.
Do you like the idea of curating stand-up comedy?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Asswits are calling it curating.
And also, like, when you're just doing your greatest hits in a guest set, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? At least,
Is this an ad? This is an ad. Essentially, all it is. It's you making an ad for your.
I'm not saying him saying him specifically, but you had said whatever.
Well, no, because I had one of those Jackie Cation and Friends things at the Improv.
Yes,
and the sound
was
guy,
I one of your friends on that one? Or was this
maybe it might have been a different one because it was a different one because they were like, "Hey, Dane Cook has been showing up a couple of nights in a row, and he's been doing really long guest sets, and I don't know how to tell him not." The sound guy said this to me. I don't know tell him how not to do it. And I said, I will. I don't have a problem telling Dane Cook he cannot go up. It isn't
should we
Jay
be
Leno.
telling the story? Is this outing the sound guy?
No, there's 5-6 sound guys.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
But and it was probably a year ago.
Okay.
So, or 6 months ago, 8 months ago. And it's not that Dane Cook isn't a perfectly nice guy. He couldn't pick me out of a lineup, by the way. I've met him probably a half a dozen times.
I'm sure he has no idea who I am.
He has no idea who I am, and it's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm, of course, enraged. I feel both well-respected and underappreciated, you guys. Anyway, so...
I'd rather be known by Danielle Perez than Dane Cook, quite frankly.
And it doesn't... Who cares? And he shouldn't know me. There's 10,000 people... Do you know this? I heard this. There are 10,000 people who claim to do stand-up comedy in Los Angeles.
What? Who told you that?
It was a number I saw on the internet. So it's obviously true. It's clearly true that there are 10,000 people who claim to be stand-up comics in Los Angeles.
Like on their tax records? seriously, I want verification.
Well, there's no way to verify. I mean, the only way you could say that you're a stand-up comic. The only way to become a stand-up comic is to claim you're a stand-up comic. I think that's how you join the Catholic Church. Actually, I think they make you pay.
Okay, you have zigged and zagged through so
All
many
over the
topics
place.
in the last 2 minutes. I don't know what we were talking about.
It could be anything, but
Oh, okay. So I have more stuff.
I got plenty. I've been everywhere, but we got to save it for the next one too.
Yeah,
so.
we're doing 2 today, and then we got to figure out because I'm gone for like a month. We have to have one day we're here for like 4 hours. Oh my god!
I have a question. I got a when I was
shit.
when I was in Fort Worth
Yeah.
doing this weekend in Fort Worth.
What was that like a little
A small
theater? or
theater,
something? Yeah, how'd it
called
go?
Amphibian Theater. It was really fun. They were so nice, and Linda Stogner opened for me.
Oh, I love her. She's great.
super dark and
Yes.
super funny.
Yes. And she does films. Like she gets films.
Oh yeah,
into
yeah. She's a little
festivals
movie
and
maker,
stuff.
and she makes little, meaning short films.
Yes.
and then I don't know if she has done feature.
She's
length.
not super tall,
No,
but yeah,
she's
yeah.
a tiny person as well. But Linda Stogner, very funny comic. And do you want to do the comic of the week?
Yes. Okay.
And then I'll go back to the question that I got from a comic from Dallas Fort Worth named Barry, whose last name I can't
Okay.
remember.
Janelle James.
Janelle James is the comic of the week, you guys.
Very funny.
Very funny.
I met her at Bridgetown. And,
Oh, cool.
She's very funny on Twitter. Followed her on Twitter, and then we watched some
And we
video.
watched some
And we're
video
like,
just
yep,
to-
fucking
yes,
slam dunk.
yes.
Janelle James. Janelle James. Really
James.
funny.
Very funny, and she is super nice too.
Yes,
yeah,
very nice.
and very funny
Yeah.
on Twitter. So,
But I didn't get to work. I don't think I worked with her at a show at Bridgetown. We met at the after party.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
And the fact that you went to the after party was ambitious, I thought. Okay, so Barry.
Jackie, you don't know me.
I forget about the partying. Barry, comic in the Dallas area, genuinely, how old do you want to feel? Because he said, this is the question that we got from Barry. What was it like to do the road without GPS? Did you ever get lost?
Thomas Brothers Guide. Did you when you moved here? The Thomas Brothers Guide.
Yeah,
amazing. It was like this.
Super specific.
Yeah, and then just a giant road atlas from AAA. My dad used to go to AAA and just grab all these maps because you get them for free and a giant atlas. And
Yep. It's
I'm
the
off on a
atlas.
triple run.
Atlas is great, and then specific state map.
Yes.
And then there was map reading,
Yeah.
and that, by the way, has gone by the wayside. I couldn't. I would have to relearn how to read maps again.
Yeah.
Because and the Thomas Guide, when I moved here, there was constantly, like my first day job when I moved here, I was a secret
Yeah.
shopper for Ralph's.
Yeah.
And Food for Less.
Really?
Yeah, it was one of the
Was
worst.
that a job?
It was a job. I got $2.50 per grocery store that I went to. And I had to buy $2.50 worth of stuff, and I got to keep it, and they reimbursed me. And and I
my
got
God.
something like 25 cents a mile on
And
my car.
you're basically like a snitch on.
Yeah. And
cashiers.
guess what?
People making minimum wage.
Everyone got fives. Everyone, unless they were super rude, and it was or a manager, because of the man, and it was the dumbest job I ever had, and. But it was the Thomas Guide, because the Thomas Guide would go down and sideways. Like the next page, you would have to go to page 352 and do the grid that way.
Yeah.
But did you ever get lost because of maps and not getting to a gig on the road? I did.
No, I didn't. I like how you're like a lawyer. You ask a question because you have the answer to it.
Oh yeah, that's
And if
welcome.
if I do have an answer, that's 2 answers. But you're
That's
like
beautiful. I have a story regarding this. If you have one,
Wait, I was just thinking about this is not comedy related, but I was at Macys like 2 years ago in the Bay Area.
braggart.
And this manager was yelling at the cashiers. There's 2 young cashiers, a
Yeah.
female and a male, and something was wrong with the thing. Who knows what it was, but he grabbed her hand and threw it off. And everyone in line's like, what the fuck? And then
Like she was typing something and he grabbed her hand and whipped it off.
And so then I was up next, and she, very young, like maybe 20 or something, and she looked really upset.
Yeah.
Hard time looking at me in the eye. And I said, that guy shouldn't have done that to you.
Yeah.
And she didn't, she just sort of waved it off and smiled like, I can't talk. And
Right.
I don't
I'm
know
at
you.
work. Yeah.
And then after she rung me up, she kind of like walked away really quickly. It seemed to me super upset.
Yeah.
So then I called Macys and I described the manager and I said what he did they said they're going to take care of it. I don't know what happened.
Sure. There's no closure. There's no closure.
Yeah, there's no closure, but there was no shooting at a Macys, so I think everything's okay. But
and I think you were that's you're part of the village.
I wonder if I should have said something
world.
right then to him.
I
mean,
lost it.
why do I not have balls? I'm a comic. I should have been like,
Right,
get your fucking hands off her.
I was in line at the airport last week in I think I don't know where it was. Who cares?
Yeah.
And the woman in front of me was on her cell phone talking to the woman at the register, and then she finished her transaction, and then she's still talking on the phone, and then she doesn't move over enough, and so I put whatever I'm buying on the thing.
I hate this.
And
Yes.
I look at the cashier and I was like, "Thanks for coming to work today." And I yelled. So it's weird when people are on the phone and she's like, "You're welcome. I'm glad I came into work today." And we start yelling and the woman glares at me. I was like, "Yeah, retail moment. Hang up your phone. Woman's making a living." And I was so, I mean, I don't snap that often in public. I have snapped. There was a kid jumping on the top of a hood of a car many years ago in front of a grocery store. And it was just like a 7 or 8 year old kid. And he was standing on the hood of a car and he was bouncing on it. And I was walking into the grocery store. He was probably 7 or 8. And I go, "Get off the car." And he said, You don't get to tell me what to do. And I said, "Sure I do."
I'm a grown up.
Yeah, I'm the adult in this one. And he goes, "It's my car." And I said, Bet it isn't your car." And he goes, "It's my mom's car." And I said, "Right, then there's a really good reason not to get off the car."
That's great.
And I was like, "I am part of the village raising you kid."
It's true.
Yep.
I had okay, so wait, talk about your
GPS?
No, yeah. But no, talk about the shows at this place in
in
Fort
Dallas,
Worth.
in Fort Worth.
Yes.
Okay, so it's called the Amphibian Theater. Baron Vaughn suggested it, and it's
Did you have to do a lot of marketing for it? You just said, "Hey, I can do this night," and then they had you do that night.
They had it. The only thing that coming in, Dallas Fort Worth pretty conservative,
right?
So she did that thing that people who don't do comedy a lot. She said, "I don't want to tell you what kind of comedy to do, but you guys, but they're very conservative." So
it's like a theater
it's
audience.
and it's a theater audience,
Okay.
and some of the people were Dork Forest fans, and some of the people were Jackie and Laurie fans,
Oh,
and
cool.
some of them were just comedy fans. I think Maria Bamford's fans who had come
Okay.
in. So, and it only seated like 199.
So sweet.
And I worked on the new material.
That
the
seems
new
like
hour.
it's going to be an audience that's cool with anything you're going to do.
They were mostly cool with everything that I did,
Yeah.
and the woman who ran it was very sweet, and they put me up at a really nice hotel.
Wow.
And they were like, they took me to in Fort Worth. There's a brand new independent bookstore.
Yeah.
I bought a book called The Girls of Riyadh, which is a fictional novel about fashion in Riyadh. There's just slice of life kind of.
Oh, cool.
I haven't started it yet because I have a stack the size of Gibraltar.
Yeah,
But
By the way, your headache is also the size of Gibraltar.
was it?
Yeah. Did you call back
Have
that?
I ever been
that
to
metaphor?
Gibraltar?
No,
I've
I
not.
don't think you have.
I don't-
And they might be leaving.
The EU?
No, they want to stay in the EU. They're actually part of Britain, so they might be getting the fuck out.
Yeah.
Everyone's leaving.
Everyone's leaving.
Sinn Féin, like seconds after Brexit passed, Sinn Féin's like, we want to unite Northern Ireland and Ireland. It would be so weird after 100 years of skirmishes.
Yep.
What unites Ireland finally?
Right.
Is this fucking
Right.
vote by these
Of course. It's
hillbillies in York?
and I'll tell you
But okay,
yeah.
back. Sorry,
No, that's okay.
Gibraltar, back to Texas.
Back to Texas.
Good
so
show. One show or two?
Two shows. One
On
show
this-
each night.
Oh, so it's Friday, Saturday.
Friday, Saturday, and I provided my own feature, and I asked Linda Stogner if she could do it.
Oh,
and she initially could not do it. She was doing the Laughing Skull Festival in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then she had to come home for some reason, and she ended up being able to do it.
Sweet.
And it was just really nice.
Yeah.
And then I did the Indiana gig right after that, and it was really tense because everybody was, I came to that gig, and on Thursday night there were 4 people. I had been told that previous weeks they had canceled because not enough people. But I just want to do stand-up, right?
Yeah.
So, and they were 4 Dork Forest fans, so I show up. So by Saturday, the bartender said to me, "You have had the best attitude of any comic that we've had at this club in the year that it's been open."
It's been like that for a year?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, but they're starting. He told me that next week their website's going to go up and everything is going to be. But the greatest thing is the guy who booked me at Joker's also booked this PopCon thing with the Live Dork Forest.
Yeah.
And the PopCon people were on top of it.
Cool.
It was so cool on their page. Like Jokers.com didn't have Jack. They had March. The PopCon page had
and it's June. It should be pointed out that
Yes,
it's June.
it was June. And so they had the My Live Dork Forest. They also had this charity thing I was doing for PopCon. It was a live D&D thing, Dungeons and Dragons thing. And then also every show at Joker's with ticket stub
Oh, my
links.
God. Jokers didn't even have that?
Jokers didn't have that. Jokers had made 5 Facebook pages events.
Oh, my God.
And they must have gone through and then made a page. And then,
Yeah.
I was like, you guys are so great. And I would go back to PopCon anytime.
Yeah.
And Jokers, you know how you do a gig and you're like, I'm never coming back. And then the check clears and you're like I
all
could do
right.
it.
I'm highly interested in this too. by the way.
Right. And it paid super fair. So it was nice.
I had to do. I thought we had a week off in October. I
In
think.
October.
Yeah. So and it's a dark week. We're not taping shows at Conan, but we're in the office. We do that a
okay.
lot where we just kind of prep for other weeks and stuff.
That's
So-
that's the smartest idea in the world.
It's fun, but I thought it was a dark week, so that's
you
when I
tried to
do my
book.
email blast. Hey, I'm available this week if anyone did it, and it's since I'm always so late. It's like if anyone
Louis Lee
cancels,
desperately
please.
wants you to go
I
to
sent him
Acme.
one, and then I had to
And you didn't
immediately send a recall.
Because whoever comes up first,
I'm sorry,
whoever responds first,
yeah,
is what you take.
Yeah, but exactly.
Fair enough.
But I said, I was
already
wrong.
accepted something, and now you're
and
wrong.
now I can't go. So
And
I'm
now
sorry.
you can't go to any of it.
So I'm so dependent on people, just I don't want to incur any ill will on somebody because they're shuffling their calendar around. Then I go, oops, never mind. So with that in mind, this last trip to New York last weekend, I have spots on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm auditioning my new flight, which is 5:30 in the morning to LAX.
Right,
And then right
go to work. How
Yeah.
did that go?
Horrific.
Oh shit! All right, so
Never doing
again.
it again. Okay.
One and done.
Yes. Yeah. It was in and out of Newark. And the
crying
dude
out
dropped me
loud.
off at the wrong terminal at 4 in the morning, and I'm like taking the train, whatever. Okay, it was shitty. And then I also fucked myself over because when I'm in my apartment, I'm free. I'm not a mother.
Yeah.
I'm just a comic. And I had the screeners for The People versus OJ, which is 9 hours that you can't fucking stop watching. It's amazing. So
mesmerizing.
I after my sets on Saturday night, I just stayed up till 6 in the morning watching it. I'm like, I'm my old self again that I felt. Anyway, I was really fucked up sleep-wise for a couple days.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of like, right after my kid was born, I did this show in the Netherlands called Raymond is Laat. Did you ever do that one?
No.
It was a late night show.
Fair enough.
They might have just got New York comics because it was the cheapest flight.
Yep.
But it was taped in Rotterdam, right?
Okay.
So I just had a kid. He was like 6 months old.
Yeah.
And I got to the hotel and I didn't know anyone else on the show. They're all British comics or Dutch
Right.
comics and stuff. And I had a couple days before the thing, and it was a nice hotel, and I didn't leave the hotel room the entire time. I didn't see a fucking street of Rotterdam because I was so happy to be
right.
alone and not wanted and not needed and
Right.
just
Yeah.
by myself.
Yeah.
And so I kind of do that sometimes when I go back to New York. Anyway,
Fair enough.
So I'm supposed to leave Friday night.
Yeah.
Right, for Friday night overnight red eye flight, and then Monday coming back in the
Mm-hmm.
morning, right? And I'm like, I didn't get my notification from JetBlue, and I go on Expedia. I go, maybe I bought it through Expedia. No, nothing. I didn't get a ticket.
Oh no.
So I have either I cancel my trip, which means calling up 3 club owners in New York and going, I can't do all the spots you gave me,
Right.
or I pay full fare the day of,
Right.
and that's what I did.
Okay.
I paid, it was like $700.
Right.
I bought a flight for New York that left later that night. And I was like, oh my God, how did I do this?
There was no last minute
this
price line
happen?
thing, or?
No, because I needed to be able to pick exactly the flights because I have to get back at a certain time,
you got to get back. Yeah. Oh, there's some weird thing.
It hurts so much.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to, I am so grateful to just, I try to, it's like Tetris, right? I try to fill every fucking block of time with as many spots as I can.
So you got to do the spot. I mean, the spots are more important to you than the $700.
Yeah. I mean, normally it's close to break even because the spot money kind of covers most of the airfare and stuff. There's cabs and stuff and that run up, but I feel like that's how I keep that's how I remain a comic. Okay, it's like an investment in me. Yeah. But the fact that I just fucked
I get
up.
those massages over at the mall. That's my investment.
That's how you invest in yourself.
Yeah, there's a $24
red eye flights.
There's a red eye flight still horrible
New
York
early morning flights.
It's So
oh, that hurt.
But you know what? Allow me to quote my father. There'll always be another $700. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's he's just I'm gonna try this thing. I'm
How
doing
does he live like
tonight.
that? Is he just very confident, like Social Security or whatever?
My father with money,
Yeah.
is the funniest. You have to laugh because he's 79 years old and has no savings. So,
oh my God!
Right, so he still sells occasionally. He'll sell. You need windows? What do you need? And
what is he still have?
He's got
guys?
leads. He's got leads. He's got leads.
The Glengarry leads.
He's got the good leads. He's got some good leads, and he was bummed because one of his lead generators was an 86-year-old guy who just passed away. His buddy Bob Stimmick, and he called up Bob. He said, "I'm looking for some leads," and Bob said, "When are we going to stop this, Elliot?" But my dad, he's the guy. He's like, you make money, you spend money, you make more, you find more money, and he doesn't worry about it because my brother Russ has got his back now.
Oh.
And my brother Russ has a bunch of money because he listened to my dad with investments.
Oh.
And my dad, straight investments are, and I've been trying to do a bit about it, but I don't know how to put it tight enough. But the straight investments, my dad, he's like, you could make 10 grand if you just invested in that. And my brother's like, oh, well, then I'm going to do that. And my dad said, yeah, but that's not fun.
Oh my God!
If you did this, if you get the pool cue behind your back and do a 3-bank shot, you'll make $100 grand.
If you just do an index fund, Trump, if he had taken the money that his dad gave him, and not done real estate and just invested it in the stock market, a regular straight index fund that just takes like a percentage, he would make more than he'd.
My father on Donald Trump is hilarious. He is his whole thing is. That he's just a hell of a pitch man, but he doesn't. I don't know if that guy's a closer. So you're like, I hope he's not a closer, Dad, because I don't want
the closing of the United States of America.
Anyway, so
okay, wait, are we?
I think we're close. Are we at an hour? Yeah. So we're gonna do another one.
Let me complain about one more thing, and then I have plenty more to complain about.
And I got to go to Uncap. So we got to knock it out.
Yeah, we got to be strict. I tweeted something yesterday, and this is like, I don't want this on my brain. That's why I'm just dumping this. Okay.
Yeah.
So, George Will left the Republican Party.
He did
Big
indeed.
announcement. So I had some little wonky tweet that you got to be
Not
into George
wonky.
Will.
It was beautiful.
Well,
you fucking
guess what?
Showed it to Randy Lubis.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. So somebody else, a little bit later, another comedy writer, tweeted almost word for word the same thing. Okay. And he doesn't follow me and I don't follow him. When I was looking, because my tweet did so well that I was like, oh, what else is George Will up to? Let me, I check on Twitter and I saw his tweet, which is maybe the verb tense was a little bit different, but it was like word for word. And I was like, people are going to think I stole it.
Within minutes?
His was maybe 40 minutes after.
After?
Yeah.
You win.
But it's not win what? Fucking Twitter? Who fucking
you win
cares?
Jokes.
I don't
you
want this on my head. But I was like, well, what if people think I stole? Like, I should provide a timeline. And I'm like, who cares? No one cares.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
You
and
are
no
correct.
it's parallel
But
thinking.
I got your back.
And when you remove, George Will leaving a Republican Party, if you're a monologue joke, right, you start taking words out. You just take out Republican. George Will leaves the party. That joke, I bet 50 people wrote it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. But
whatever.
well, I know what you mean, but only what I just got there.
Yeah.
Glimpse into monologue writing. That was awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's cool. To like how you write monologue jokes is fascinating.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, you just if you take the sentence and you take out
Just take out one
a
adjective,
proper
pluck
note.
out Republican. George
Yeah.
Will left a party. It's the first time anyone noticed George Will leaving a party.
It's a great joke. And Randy Lewis, Trump supporter.
Did he like it?
He did like it, and then I got to have a lecture about why George Will left the party, and I was like, stop talking to me.
You paid a price for showing him.
Can
my
I tell you
tweet.
my Twitter thing?
Okay, and then we'll start the next
And then we'll
one.
start the next one, which is Roseanne blocked me.
Oh, yes. Too bad. She's delightful on Twitter. She's crazy, but I like following
And
her.
my fault. Entirely my fault.
How?
Ryan Stout made a joke because they legalized in California they legalized assisted suicide for terminal patients.
Right.
Ryan Stout at Stout Ryan tweeted
Hilarious Ryan stuff.
hilarious Ryan Stout tweeted that the unfortunate thing about assisted suicide was that you could only use it in California if you had a terminal illness, not if you had made a terminal social faux pas. It was something like that. It was a very funny tweet. And then I tweeted at him and I said, "Are you talking about Roseanne?" And I tagged
That is
her.
totally your fault.
I tagged her. I didn't
What the fuck are you doing?
I didn't realize she ran her own Twitter account.
Look at it. Who else would run that
I'm
account?
not following her. I don't know jack about Rose. I mean, I met her in the late 90s in Minneapolis. Or the late, it would have been the late 80s.
You trolled a fellow female comic.
Exactly. And then she tweeted back at me because my pin tweet is about terrorism.
Yeah.
And Muslims and something like that. And she called me a toad and then blocked me. So, and I was like, well,
Dude.
I set myself up for it.
Yeah.
And so I'm cool with that. Roseanne, you're cool, man. Except for that if you did support Trump, you're not thinking with all cylinders. Okay.
You know what? I don't go to Roseanne for thinking on all cylinders. I like
Really?
one cylinder
Rosie O'Donnell?
Roseanne.
Rosie O'Donnell, is that who you go to when you want your political
When
commentary?
it has to be a Rose, right?
It has to be
Apparently.
a Rose. Yeah.
I go to Rose
McGowan.
Kennedy and she died.
Rose
so.
Kennedy, Rose McGowan. Anyone?
Yes.
And so,
I like
all right.
Rose McGowan, actually.
That was fun.
All right, that's it for this one. Bye.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.